Let's look now at the arts. Another area of the Church's transforming influence on societies is in the realm of the arts, especially with reference to music and art. Though it is a somewhat subjective issue, if the average knowledgeable person is quizzed about the international greats in music and art, in all likelihood, the names of Christians would emerge, such as the artists Leonardo da Vinci. You might remember his piece, Mona Lisa. Michelangelo, his piece Madonna and Child may come to mind. Rembrandt, his pieces The Prodigal Son Returns or The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. And musicians like Johann Sebastian Bach, Friedrich Handel, Franz Schubert, and Wolfgang Mozart. I want you to hear now a few strains of Bach's majestic toccata and fugue in D minor. I don't know if you know anything about Terry Waite. Terry Waite was the envoy of the Archbishop of Canterbury some years ago. And he went to the Middle East to help to liberate people who were taken hostage by some Muslims. He was imprisoned himself for quite a while. And when he was going to be released from prison, the suggestion came from the Royal School of Church Music that Bach's toccata and fugue in D minor be played in all of the churches in Britain on the Sunday when Terry Waite was going to be released from captivity. As a bit of comic relief, I want to read for you some letters to the editor in response to that suggestion. These were from the Times, 23rd of November, 1991. This one is from Mrs. Barbara Martin. Sir, as a one-time village church organist, barely able to struggle through all things bright and beautiful, and with never a foot on the pedals, I am charmed by the suggestion of the Secretary and Chief Executive of the Royal School of Church Music that Bach's toccata and fugue in D minor, said to be Terry Waite's favorite piece of organ music, should fill every church in the land on Sunday morning with its glorious sound to celebrate his release from captivity. Oh, would that it were possible. Yours faithfully, Barbara Martin. Another organist responded this way. Sir, it might be more realistic to urge all church organists to practice Bach's toccata and fugue in D minor until they are able to play it. This might, of course, defer performance until some subsequent anniversary, or even indefinitely, as in the case of your obedient servant, Richard Osmond. And a final one. Sir, out of profound respect for Terry Waite, the organist at St. Christopher's Church, Winfrith, Newburgh, will not be attempting Bach's toccata and fugue in D minor this Sunday. Yours faithfully, Suzanne Bartholomew. There are other areas of societal life that have been transformed or challenged by the church. In some of the areas we have explored, the church now stands guilty of deliberate abandonment and must now reclaim or re-engage turf, while in others, she needs to redouble her efforts against a growing tide of secularism. The church in the 21st century will need vision, the ability to detect and discern what is beneath what appears, as it intentionally engages modern societies in order to effect transformation within them. The church in this information age will need as well a much healthier appreciation of the cruciality of apologetics, defending the faith, for our witness to the nations. What really is apologetics? Let philosopher J.P. Moreland answer. He says, quote, "Apologetics is a New Testament ministry of helping people overcome intellectual obstacles that block them from coming to or growing in the faith by giving reasons for why one should believe Christianity is true and by responding to objections raised against it," unquote. J. Gresham Machen makes a point worth pondering time and again when he says, quote, "False ideas are the greatest obstacles to the reception of the gospel. We may preach with all the fervor of a reformer and yet succeed only in winning a straggler here or there. If we permit the whole collective thought of the nation or of the world to be controlled by ideas which, by the resistless force of logic, prevent Christianity from being regarded as anything more than a harmless delusion," unquote. Transforming society will involve, among other things, obedience to the call to spiritual warfare in 2 Corinthians 10, 4 and 5. Let me read that for you and make a point from it as we close. 2 Corinthians 10, verses 4 and 5. "The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." This is a call which is essentially one of using God-surrendered minds to effect the goal of tearing down strongholds or entrenched systems of thought that control minds and lives. How do we do that in a society, according to the text? By demolishing arguments and anti-God arrogance and capturing every thought, every mind for Jesus Christ, the Lord of the church.